Welcome to Not Another White Box, the channel that brings you all that's cool, quirky and unusual in the caravan world. My name is Cameron, and today I'm not just bringing you a tour of the all-new Capsule Minis in the UK, I'm bringing you an in-depth look at the design, build and import process that Leeds Caravan Centre have had to go through to bring these over to the UK and market them for just £16,995 on the road, which makes them the cheapest conventional sized caravan that you can buy in Britain today. Intrigued? I am too. Let's dive in and take a look at all about the world of the Capsule Mini. The Capsule story begins over 2,000 miles away in Sakarya in northern Turkey. Umarsan is the head of Umarsan, who have been producing caravans for the best part of 10 years now, but crucially, the business has over 60 years worth of experience when it comes to working with fiberglass. The Capsule Mini is built as a one-piece shell with an impressive 50mm of polyurethane insulation throughout. The shell is not only immensely strong but also very light, giving the caravan a dry weight of 650 kilograms. The chassis is imported from Germany and is made by Alco, so it is more than familiar to British caravanners. The several week-long process of building a Capsule Mini concludes with a bespoke paint job, which is finished off by a team of experts. I came across Umarsan caravans via Instagram last year and shared one of their larger models to my social media outlets. Damien, the owner of Leeds Caravan Centre, got in touch to ask if I could help bring these models over to the UK. He flew out to Turkey with his colleague Ben and they struck a deal with Umarsan to bring the new Capsule Mini model to the UK. They are the first retailer to take on capsule caravans, agreeing to exclusivity within the UK. In their native Turkey, they are sold directly from the factory. This is where things began to get massively complicated. Importing a caravan isn't as simple as just driving abroad and towing it back. UK legislation affects the electrics, the gas systems, road lights, external reflectors and ventilation points, so all of these factors had to be considered. Damien asked me to narrow down the capsule's colour schemes to 4 standardised models. I embarked on weeks worth of market research to determine that I would create a standard contemporary capsule and a retro inspired one. This involved choosing colours, specification changes and selecting different fixtures, all done to a set budget and a projected end retail price. With the 4 capsules complete, it was time to ship them to the UK, which is done in a large shipping container. Amazingly, this took over 3 weeks to complete, and in a frustrating customs loophole, they're taxed before they can clear customs, then the tax is claimed back and then repaid when they are sold. Only in the UK, eh? Interbox handled the shipping, with Umarsan sorting them out at the factory and loading them into the container. Interbox are a very reputable international shipping company that specialises in moving touring caravans. They're a really great specialist team who predominantly ship caravans to Australia and New Zealand. They have years worth of experience and are very careful to ensure that the caravans are not only packed well, but carefully removed from the container too. It was really thrilling to arrive very early one Monday morning at Interbox and watch the capsules slowly emerge from the dark shipping container. One by one, they were pulled out, all seemingly gift-wrapped in protective coverings, which was exciting to wait until all the colours were revealed. Olive green, slate grey, burnt orange and glacier white. From here, they were towed back to Leeds Caravan Centre, which gave me the chance to see how well these tiny tourers tow. I couldn't have been more impressed. Their long A-frame and aerodynamic body makes them really easy to tow, and amazingly for such a cheap caravan, they have shock absorbers fitted as standard to the suspension, which goes a long way to ensure that the capsule tows smoothly and comfortably. Once back at Leeds Caravan Centre, lots of small tweaks and a general pre-delivery inspection were carried out to each model to ready them for sale. I was tasked with creating a website for them and a printed brochure, my first ever brochure commission. This was a lot of work, but something that I really enjoyed doing. It involved collating props and handling all of the photography. With the launch day looming, it was ready to pull it all together and prepare for the big launch. So the bit you've all been waiting for, what is a Capsule Mini actually like? So I'm going to take you on a detailed tour of this Capsule Mini R in burnt orange, but it is the same inside as all the others. I'll point out a few little differences along the way, but predominantly they are all the same footprint inside. So a lot of the features are the same throughout. Starting with the body shell, they are, as we've mentioned, one-piece fiberglass. So they are built exactly the same way as they build a boat. So I think that says a lot about their ability to keep water ingress out. At the front end here, you've got this absolutely massive gas locker that has a little retaining clip at the top there. You can fit 2 Cala gas bottles in here, or 2 camping gas bottles if you prefer, of the smallest size that they do. And there's plenty of space for storing all your extra accessories and things in there. These lock in the middle and have 2 little catches at the side just to hold it down. But the nice thing is, while you're actually using it on the weekend, you don't have to faff about locking it. You just put the catches over to stop the wind blowing it. It saves carrying the keys around. Easy. At the front end here, I'm just going to lift off the towing cover. We've got a very familiar looking Alco tow hitch. It's got a gas assisted handbrake, a non-stabilizer hitch. I don't believe it needs one because it's just set up to tow very well. The axle's a bit set further back. It's got the long A-frame. It's going to tow fine. I wouldn't worry too much about the Alco stabilizer hitch. We've got a slightly more premium Alco soft tyre used on the wheel. So if you're manoeuvring it over hard stones and that kind of thing, it's not going to bounce about like some of the cheaper jockey wheels do. The nice thing about having a standard Alco chassis though is that when it comes to servicing and repairs, all the bits are standardized. It's a completely galvanized chassis front to back. It's got 4 standard Alco corner steadies. We've even got LED lights throughout. Another thing that's been altered for the British market is originally these have an onboard water tank, but we've gone for a standard whale water inlet there, which runs from the 12-volt system inside. And a nice little quirk of the retro spec while we're passing are these hubcaps and white wall tyres, which are absolutely so cool. I really, really love them. And finally at the back, it's one of the alterations we had to make to bring it over to Britain was the fitment of reflector triangles at the back, which are a legal requirement here. Got full UK compliant LED road lights, which are low energy. And this back panel, I think, kind of looks a little bit like a British Caravan, the way it's recessed slightly there. But yeah, that's pretty much it in a nutshell. There's not too much to show you with the outside because they're very simple, very rugged. There's not tons of features to the outside. Optional extras include fitting a gas barbecue point, external power point, and a rollout canopy or an awning rail. So you can customize the Capsule to suit your needs. But I think we've had a quick look at the outside. The inside is what you really, really want to see. So let's take a closer look. I just love how cozy these Caravans are. They're deceptively large inside. They are only just a whisker under 10 foot long, but they are 6'3" internally and 6'6" externally. So they're actually of a conventional size despite their appearance, and that's evident here in the seating area at the front. There's plenty of room for 2 people. You can sit up at this end with your feet up like this, or you can either sit crossways like this, and it's just a nice cozy little nook to sit in. You've got an adjustable dining table, which regardless of what's on it, you can swivel around so you can get in and out, which I think is quite a clever idea. And this will lower down to make the bed, which will show you in another capsule. In the centre of the Caravan, we've got this compact split kitchen. Now, bear in mind the Capsule is designed as a very small step up from camping, so it is very simple. Over in the main kitchen area, we've got a small sink with cold running water, although hot water is an option. and just one gas burner. And we did try to fit 2 gas burners in, but it was too difficult with the size limitations. And actually, when I was doing some market research on various social media platforms, a lot of people who go camping who would typically buy a Capsule Mini reported that they weren't too bothered about the stove. They would typically carry a barbecue and cook on it all weekend, or some kind of electric grill setup, or even an air fryer. When I looked into what people who typically went tent camping were taking with them, people said they were just using the stove for heating water and not too much else. So the main thing for me was to have worktop space and power. So you've got a power point up here where you can plug a kettle in. You've also got a power point above on this side, so you can use this entire platform for putting whatever you like: microwave, air fryer, coffee machine, whatever. Plenty of space there to put it. And you've also got this shelf at the back, which you just got a lot of space for preparing food or putting appliances if that's what you prefer. But that's kind of the bare essentials. You've got a piezo ignition on it, and this runs from the gas at the front. And they've even thought to add a neat little worktop extension which goes on like so. So when you're drying up, you put your pots on there. And something I love about the Capsules is these worktops are real wood. They've got a real texture, real wood grain. You don't have to worry about pots and things falling out of cupboards and putting dents in them, which make them impossible to repair or replace. These worktops will require a little bit of looking after, admittedly, but they are more ecological and they are tougher, stronger, more durable. And if in 5 years' time you decide you want to change them, you can, of course, just take them out, unscrew them from underneath, and fit your own custom worktops. And that was something that I was quite insistent about with the Capsule, that it had a built-in longevity. So we've already got the fiberglass shell. The bulk of the furniture is part of that fiberglass shell. The kitchen units and the storage unit at the back are the only things in the Capsule that are built in separately. So that gives you leverage then. These drawer fronts are real wood as well. If in a few years' time you decide you've had enough and want to change it, you can paint these, you can replace them. They are all completely standard parts that you probably find more in B&Q than you would at the Caravan dealership. So it's bringing in some of that vintage Caravan, you know, some of the things that I like about having a vintage Caravan personally is that it's infinitely renewable and the parts are constantly available. And that's what the Capsule offers as well. It has that longevity. Just above the kitchen, we've got in the retro spec, they have these rattan effect cupboards, which I just love. They're so old-fashioned but so on trend at the same time. And when I was designing the bits for the interior, this was something that I pulled up as being something that it's old meets new. And that's what we kind of wanted to do. We wanted to reference the colours of times gone by, reference some of the design details, but keep it looking fresh and contemporary, which I hope you'll agree we've managed to do. These lockers are massive. They're lined as well. They go all the way down into the front of the Caravan. And in the retro spec vans, you get these finished in grey, whereas in the standard spec vans, which we'll look at later, they're finished in white. It's a bit of a contrast there. Another thing to say about the kitchen is there's tons of space down below as well. The drawers are huge and they pull out all the way into the middle of the Caravan. You could get loads in here. You've got a 100 kilogram payload, which doesn't seem like a massive amount, but when you bear in mind the size of the Caravan, you're going to struggle to fit 100 kilograms worth of stuff in here. On the opposite side, we've got another little cupboard, but the main thing is we've got a small compressor fridge, which runs from 12 volts, so you're not using up any gas. And when you're plugged in on site, it will work off the mains electric. And if you go for the off-grid pack with the solar on the roof and the leisure battery installed, it will run off that up to about 9 days before it will deplete the battery. That's without the solar panel in circuit. So these fridges, it was a more expensive fitting for us to choose. It was slightly more costly into the price overall, but it was the right fitting for the job, and it's going to keep that energy consumption down. And they also work really, really well. Even in extreme heat, like at the moment, we're having a rare heat wave in England, that fridge is ice cold. No dramas, it's just on, it works, and it's really, really quiet as well. Despite the capsule's minuscule size, it does squeeze in a washroom. Now, if you've been in something like a Freedom Jetstream or a smaller Reba, you'll know that the washroom in a compact caravan is always a bit of a size compromise, but not in a capsule, because this washroom space is massive. It's got a full size shower area, and the shower pulls out of the tap like so. You've got a small wash basin, which is really cool. It's part of the fiberglass moulding. There are no seams in this washroom at all. It's a complete one-piece unit. There's no cork anywhere. There's no joins in it anywhere. It is completely watertight. The only thing that's not is the door aperture, which is why it's got the shower curtain here, just to deflect the water back towards the floor. But we've squeezed in a premium Thetford porta potty. None of those tiny little ones that you get in lots of camper vans and things where you sit on them and your knees are up around your ears. This is a normal height Thetford porta potty with electric flush, so it's a very, very posh camping. But again, based on my market research, some people really wanted the loo in the caravan. Some people valued the shower more, particularly people who are going to festivals and things. This gives you the flexibility. If you don't ever want to use the toilet in the caravan, just take it out and leave it at home. You've got a great space in here where you can store things. Someone even said they wanted to buy one because they wanted to have somewhere where they could wash their dog. Whatever. It's got the flexibility to do what you want. And there's a little window in here too, which opens up for ventilation. And on the subject of windows, it uses premium double glazed windows throughout, that every window apart from the one in the door opens, and they're not on those fiddly little window stays that have the tightening up screws. They're just completely friction based. Open them as much or as little as you want and they will stay there. They've also got child locks built into them as well, and they've got blinds and fly screens to all opening windows. They even have a little magnetic strip in the middle just to keep out any daylight. I mean, I'm so impressed at the quality of some of these fittings. It's at any price level. When you consider the issues that we have with some British caravans with the blinds and fly screens, to have this in something that is $16,995 on the road makes me wonder where we've gone wrong in Britain, because these are absolutely fabulous. Just before we exit the first capsule mini, I'm going to show you all the lights are switched independently up here. So you can have your ambient downlighters on under the lockers, or the main lights or the bathroom lights are all switched all from up here. And it's also got a control panel, which for now just controls the power to the lights and the water pump. But if you go for the 12-volt package, it will also control that as well and give you an indication of what the battery's doing. And one last thing before I take you into the next capsule to show you the bed setup. Everyone who's been watching my channel and following my coverage of the Bailey Discoveries and crying that there's no door fly screen on the newest models, $16,995 folks, and it has a door fly screen. Just gets better and better. I'm going to show you quickly now in the olive green one. It is exactly the same as the orange one, the retro spec, in that it has the same wheels, same interior fittings, exactly. Just in true Blue Peter style, we've set the bed up earlier so I can show you. So the table drops down and forms the bed base, but the backs of the front seat cushions actually have wood built into them to make them even firmer. I would admit the bed is not the biggest in the world. It's 6'3" tall by 43 inches across, so not quite a standard double, but a similar size to the beds that you would find in a camper van, for example. In this one, I've closed the curtains. I love the fact, anyone who watches Not Another White Box will know that curtains in caravans are the great debate at the moment. Some people love the clean slate approach, which we'll show you in the other models. But I thought, with a nod to all things retro, we've got to have some floral curtains, which is exactly what we've done here. They serve no purpose whatsoever because we've got full blinds and fly screens to that window, as I said, with all opening windows, but they do just make it a little bit cozier. So yeah, for reference, if I lay on this side of the bed, you can see it's It's not the biggest bed in the world. It's exactly the same dimensions as ones that you'll find in a camper van or something similar. So it works for two people. For one person, it's really generous and it's so easy to make up. And underneath these lockers here, you've got storage space as well, accessed through little wooden hatches in the top where you can put bedding, clothes, etc. They are fully lined with the same felt material that we use in the upper cupboards. So you don't have to worry about anything touching the fiberglass underneath. They are completely lined under there. So actually, I think for the size of the caravan, for what it squeezes in, you've still got a double bed, you've got a completely separate shower room, and you've got a generously sized kitchen. And I will admit there is no wardrobe, which I kind of thought, personally, I would quite like one. But again, all the surveys that we did pointed towards that people who are camping generally aren't bothered about hanging clothes up. If you're in a tent, you're going to keep things folded. You've got tons of space in here. You've got the two lockers above, the big cupboard at the back. You've got extra storage above and below the fridge, and also these massive drawers again, which, yes, you can keep kitchen bits in predominantly, but if you wanted to put clothes in there, you could. And trust me, no one takes away more clothes and shoes than what I do on a weekend, and I think I could fit into this quite well. And finally, we arrive at the two contemporary capsules. These are just known as the Capsule Mini. This is the base model for which the whole concept is designed around. So these are designed to be as futuristic and contemporary as possible. And certainly in terms of the outside, we hope we've achieved that with the choice of colour. We've gone for Glacier white, which is just the standard colour, because I think the shape is so interesting that to just have one all highlighted in white is just as interesting as having a colour. But if you do want a splash of colour, we have this, which is known as Slate Grey, which just adds that bit of pop of vibrancy, and I think complements a lot of modern car colour schemes very well. Unlike the retro spec with the white wall tyres and the hubcaps, we've gone for just standard steel wheels on these, which I think are just rugged and earnest and simple. So every detail was carefully considered, but apart from those, the colours and the wheels, the outside is exactly the same as the other two. But inside, that's where they differ greatly. Straight away you'll notice that they have a completely different vibe in here. We've kept it contemporary, clean and unfussy. So those top lockers are painted matching white so they blend in. We've picked out all the built-in units in a colour. In this particular one we've gone for the grey again, which is mirrored in the cupboards above, and they've got modern black fittings which just finish them off quite nicely. We don't have curtains at the front, which I know will please some people and upset others. If you really want curtains, we can find you some. But they've got these really nice coordinated scatter cushions, which we added in the UK. But apart from that, the kitchen, the washroom, everything else is exactly the same. But I'm sure you'll agree that the colour change difference really does make a difference to the interior. But personally, I think I've saved the best till last, because we're going to take a look at the white one, which has the very calming sage green interior. Let's go take a look. I shouldn't be biased, but this is definitely my personal favourite. This interior, the green against the white and the beige warm fabrics with the scatter cushions with those hints of green in, it's such a relaxing, calming place to be. I think the retro one is fun, it's bright, it's cheerful, it's warm. This I feel is just so calming. Same with the grey one next door. And these colour schemes are interchangeable if you do a factory order. So you could have the grey exterior with the sage green interior if you order from the factory. But I hope you'll agree that we've been very considerate with our choice of colour schemes, and we offer two variations on a theme that cater for very different audiences. And like I said, so far in the design process, as I've been talking about them online, but also having people visit the dealership and give their feedback, we've taken everything on board, and I see this as a caravan that will keep evolving and keep improving over time. And Leeds Caravan Centre are just the perfect place to do that, because they're all caravanners themselves. The boss, Damien, is absolutely fantastic. I mean, his commitment to making sure that these leave here in the best condition and state possible. He's been in finishing, edging bits off and changing little bits. The sort of thing that you would do to an English caravan anyway on the PDI. But because these are like his little baby now, because he's invested so heavily in it, he's really, really proud to get them up to scratch. And I think that's rare to find these days. Someone who owns the dealership who is that hands-on and completely committed to making the caravans that they sell the best they can be, which does extend to the normal caravans that Leeds Caravan Centre sells. But I think based here, it's the gateway to the Yorkshire Dales. It's really well placed between the M62, M1, A1. It's a great spot geographically in the country. Do not be put off by the fact that they've been sold by one dealership. As we've mentioned, all the chassis parts are completely standard to what you'd find on a British caravan. Anyone who's qualified to service caravans can service these, and there's not a lot to go wrong. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comments about these caravans. They're so unusual, they're so different, they're lightweight, easy to tow, and they are the cheapest conventional sized caravan in terms of height and width available on the market in Britain today. I'm really excited for the open day, and wishing Leeds Caravan Centre the best of luck with these. I feel a little bit like the fairy godmother. My part's done, but I'm going to stick around. I'm going to work with them for the rest of the year, and possibly even further into the future on the capsules and the capsule minis. And big thanks to Umarsan as well over in Turkey, who these were his brainchild, and again really committed to getting them the best he can, and certainly for the money. There's just nothing to grumble about. They are fantastic. So I'm really hoping people get behind them, really hoping the orders flood in. Fingers crossed for the launch date. It's going to be a bit nerve-wracking, but I'm very excited for it. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching. I'm going to update the description with the link to the new Capsule Mini website for the UK, and I'll also pop up some links to the socials as well. Hope you've enjoyed watching this video. Let me know what you think about the Capsule Minis in the comments below, and do please remember to like the video and subscribe, because that really helps me out as well. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.